Yo ho ho, Da Mafia. Welcome to another edition of NFL Weekly Picks. That's right, we are currently in week 8, and let's just say the NFL has been very exciting so far this year, and we are back giving you my picks. In case you're new here, my name is Dan Mitchell. I am an NFL and Buffalo Bills YouTuber. If that is your cup of tea, I highly recommend subscribing to this channel, and of course, smashing the out of that like button. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive into this. I'm feeling it. Thursday Night Football, the Green Bay Packers and the Arizona Cardinals. Let's be honest with ourselves. The Arizona Cardinals have been absolutely mutilating every single team that they have played so far this year. They do have a test against the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night. Practically Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams have been nearly unstoppable since week 2. However, there is a wrench thrown into those plans. Both Davante Adams and Lazard were placed on the COVID-19 list a couple of days ago, and both of them are not looking likely to play on Thursday night. And while I do still think that Aaron Rodgers can keep it relatively close, I think at this point there is nothing stopping the Arizona Cardinals until they play the Rams on week 10. However, I'm going to have to go with the Cardinals on this. Let's go 35-28. Next up, the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, when it comes down to the Atlanta Falcons, they have somehow climbed their way back to a 500 team. The offense is really starting to gel. Kyle Pitts is finally becoming a factor for that offense, as many of us predicted and hoped for. And they're going up against the Carolina Panthers, who started the season off very, very strong, but seems like that their old struggles have resurfaced. Last week, Sam Darnold was benched. Dude man was benched, which is a very questionable move on my end. But in my opinion, while I think this game is going to be close, I think the Falcons are hot. And since the Falcons are going to be at home during this game, I'm going to have to give the advantage to the home team. The Falcons are going to win this 28-27. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans, who are currently sitting at 5-2, and the Indianapolis Colts, who are sitting at 3-4. It does seem that Carson Wentz has finally gotten his shit together. He finally seems to be gelling with this new offense. The offensive line has been doing a pretty good job at protecting him. Jonathan Taylor is finally becoming a factor for this team. But now you're going up against the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry, right? While I do really like the Colts' defense, particularly that front seven, stopping Derrick Henry has proven to be nearly impossible, especially this year. Dude man legitimately is taking that offense and just putting it on his back. I do foresee this being a close game, and I'm gonna have to say the Colts are going to win this game. This is going to be my upset of the week, and so I might have one or two more going on into the rest of the week, but I see the Colts pulling this off. I feel like the Titans have been hot, but they are due for a disappointment, and I think what not better than to lose to a divisional rival. I have the Colts winning this game. Let's go 35-31. Next up, the 1-6 Miami Dolphins versus the 4-2 Buffalo Bills. Now, although the Bills are currently sitting at 4-2 and they are currently 4th in the playoff picture, this is still one of the most complete teams in the entire NFL. Losing an absolute nail-biter against the Titans prior to the bye week. I think this team is going to be hungry. We're going to be home. Bills Mafia is going to be absolutely reeling. And we're playing the Miami Dolphins, who somehow ended up pulling off a win against the Patriots during week 1, but have since spiraled downhill. Tua is back. However, I really do not foresee him going out there and being efficient, especially since rumors have been flying around that Deshaun Watson is going to be moved over to Miami. I have a feeling that he's going to be less than inspired, and I think the Bills are going to practically perform a blowout. I mean, I'm talking like 42-10. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are currently sitting at 5-2, and the New York Jets, who are sitting at 1-5. Now, the Jets just seem to be the Jets from previous years. As encouraging as it was that Robert Saleh ended up taking over the reins, it still seems like that there has been some growing pains in that overall organization. While Zach Wilson hasn't been the most impressive, he won't even be out there. He's suffering a knee injury. The Jets just ended up making a move for Joe Flacco just a couple of days ago. Is he going to start this game? At this point, why the fuck not? However, the Bengals are absolutely hot. They're coming off of an absolute blowout against the Baltimore Ravens at this point, and they have been a surprise team so far this year. I really think that Joe Burrow and that Jamar Chase connection is going to be way too much to stop for the Jets, and I also foresee this being an absolute blowout as well. Let's go Bengals 28-3. Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 3-3, going up against the Cleveland Browns. I feel absolutely terrible for the Browns. They have been going through probably the most injury-ridden roster in the league so far this year. Baker Mayfield is still out. They're going to be having Case Keenum starting once again. Really haven't heard word on Chubb and or Kareem Hunt whether or not that they are going to be back. And the Steelers, while they have showed their share of struggles so far this year, I have a feeling that the Steelers are actually going to end up pulling this one off, coming off of a bye. I mean, there's been a bunch of fluff pieces saying that Ben Roethlisberger feels a lot healthier after the bye. I mean, that's just all smoke and mirrors at that point. But I really don't see this being an exciting game to watch. I really, really don't. And I think it's going to be low scoring, and I think that this game is going to be 17-13 Steelers. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles, who are currently sitting at 2-5, and the Detroit Lions, who have not won a game, sitting at 0-7. The Eagles have been struggling, but the Detroit Lions have been struggling, right? And I said this during my live stream the other night that I just feel absolutely terrible for this squad. It seems like every game that they have lost has been very, very close, and it ended in an absolute heartbreaker. I think Dan Campbell is due for a win, and I just so happen to say that he is going to get his first win on Sunday at 1 p.m. Score is going to be 21-14 Detroit Lions. Next up, the Los Angeles Rams and the Houston Texans. This game really doesn't require much of an analysis. I would say that the Houston Texans really aren't even trying to win games this year. There is word that Tyrod Taylor may be coming back maybe next week during week 9, week 10. Who knows what's going on there? However, even if he was out there, the LA Rams are simply just too hot. And in my opinion, they are the only team that can even challenge the Arizona Cardinals in the NFC this year. So I have the LA Rams absolutely just destroying the Texans. The Texans may not even score a point. I'm going 35-3. His last 1 o'clock game is going to be the Chicago Bears and the San Francisco 49ers. The Chicago Bears ended up getting mutilated by Tom Brady in their home stadium the other night. I mean, Tom Brady, even for the first time facing his first Ohio State quarterback, absolutely embarrassed Justin Fields. 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles. That Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense was all over this poor kid. His confidence has had to go down the shitter. While the 49ers have also had their own struggles so far this year, I just think that they're the better team at this point, and I'm going to have to go with the 49ers winning this game 28-17. Next up, the New England Patriots and the LA Chargers. Now, the Chargers are coming off of a shocking loss, in my opinion, getting completely destroyed by the Baltimore Ravens prior to the bye week. However, I do foresee them bouncing back. The Patriots are coming off of a very hot win, absolutely mutilating the Jets. But really, at the end of the day, I see the Chargers still being a powerhouse in this league. I think that loss against the Ravens was just a setback at this point. I see Herbert really being able to toy with the Patriots defense. I see it being close, but at the end of the day, I see it being 31-30. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks have definitely been a disappointment this year, even when Russell Wilson was taking snaps prior to his injury. Once again, Geno Smith is about to be the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks at this point, and then the Jaguars are coming off of a bye week and a win against the Miami Dolphins in London prior to that bye week. This is probably going to be a game that I do not care to watch whatsoever. It's going to be low scoring. You have the Jaguars, who have definitely displayed their struggles so far in 2021, minus the win in London. And then the Seahawks, who are really just surviving off of a limb at this point, hoping and praying that Russell Wilson will end up coming back. I'm going to have to give it to the Seahawks. I really, really am. I still think that they'll win by like 2 scores. 21-7 Seahawks. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 6-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the New Orleans Saints. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. The Saints historically, at least during the regular season, has had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers number. Whether or not that's the coaching on the Saints side, Jameis Winston has actually been relatively efficient for this squad. The Buccaneers have been hot. However, I'm going to have to pick this up as my second upset, especially since the Saints are home. They're fresh. They're coming off of a bye. I'm going to have to pick the Saints to pull off the upset and beat the Buccaneers 35-31. Next up is the 2-5 Washington football team and the Denver Broncos, who are currently sitting at 3-4. The Broncos won their first 3 games of the season, and they have lost 4 straight. The Washington football team legitimately was supposed to be favored as one of the best defenses in the entire league. However, it seems like that the personnel group that they have just isn't meshing well with the new system that Washington has put in defensively. I see that the Broncos, they lost 4 straight. They're due to come back, and they are at home. And for that reason alone, I'm going to pick the Broncos for this. And we're going to go 20-14. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys, who are currently sitting at 5-1, and the Minnesota Vikings, who are sitting at 500 at 3-3. I mean, I'll be honest with you, as much as it pains me to say, as much as many NFL personalities just absolutely gag and saying a statement similar to this, the Dallas Cowboys are one of the best teams in the NFL. Their offense is great. I do understand that Dak Prescott ended up suffering a calf injury. I haven't heard reports at the time of recording this video of whether or not that he will be playing for sure on Sunday Night Football. However, it seems to be trending in the right direction. While the Minnesota Vikings are sitting at 500, they didn't start the season too hot. They don't have a chance against the Dallas Cowboys at this chance. I see this being at least a 2-score game. We'll go 35-21 Cowboys. Last but not least, the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs have been a disappointment this year. They really, really have. But when you're going up against a team like the New York Giants, who I suppose have had spurts of success throughout this year, the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, are just completely a better team than the New York Giants. And I think that Patrick Mahomes is due to correct his turnover issue. I think Tyreek Hill and Kelsey are definitely due for a bit of a larger impact on the field. So with that being said, I have the Chiefs winning this game. And I see him putting up points, as a matter of fact. I'm going 42-17 Chiefs. So yeah, Dom Mafia, that's going to have to do it for today's edition of NFL Picks. So in case you ever want to follow me on other social media platforms, you can find my handle right down here. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, and TikTok. Definitely feel free to follow and see what I do over there. It's always a good time. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And before I let you go, you better always remember, let's go Buffalo.